Hello everyone, welcome to Conquer College Admissions. This is Julie Kim and I'm a graduate of USC and Harvard University and the founder of a college consulting company called Passion Prep. In this video, I'm going to be talking about all the changes that's been happening with the SAT and ACT, so let's go ahead and get started. So there's been a lot of changes with test prep. Some colleges are making them optional permanently, like Columbia University, and some colleges are going back to requiring the test completely, like Yale University and Purdue University. And some colleges are saying, we don't want it, it's not a part of the application anymore. So there's a lot of conflicting policy right now. And as a high school student and as a parent, you're probably wondering, do I take the test? Do I not take the test? If I take it, will it increase my chances of getting accepted? And if I don't take it, will it also decrease my chance or will it increase? There are so many blurry lines right now, so I thought I would use this video to talk about how to decide whether you should take the test or not. So to backtrack a little bit here, if we take a look at the college application process, it used to be in a format where it was like a checklist. So you have to have the GPA, the SAT scores, you have to volunteer, attend summer programs, and it literally looked like you were just checking off the things you had to do. And if you were in the certain bracket in terms of your stats, we were able to predict whether the student could get in or not. Now this process has become truly holistic. So you can't just look at one category and say, okay, I think I'll get accepted, because even students with straight A's in their transcript and perfect SAT and ACT scores, they're getting rejected left and right. So it's not a matter of checking things off, but making sure that your application encompasses your academic aptitude, intellectual curiosity, your values as a person, and your personality too. They want to know who you are. And one thing that I like to share with my students all the time is that this is not, an application that you submit and a computer is reading it. It's a person-to-person interaction and process. So it's really important to go above and beyond the checklist and instead showing colleges your authentic self, your academic passions, and those things are going to play a much bigger role than looking at the nitty-gritty parts of the application process. And another thing to note is that right now there is no pattern. So, if I were seeing that all the colleges were going back to requiring the SAT and ACT again, then hey, we can just easily say, let's take the test, study for it. But that's not what we're seeing. There's some colleges that used to require it that are not requiring it anymore. So there is no pattern to where this is going. However, if you are thinking about applying to Ivy League and top tier colleges that have acceptance rates lower than 20 or 10%, taking the SAT and ACT is not going to hurt. And so, because that fulfills that box of stats. And under stats, that's going to be your GPA, your SAT, ACT scores, and also your AP exams. And so trying to strengthen that part of your application is good. So if you have good stats, if you are taking the SAT digital test, you could take diagnostic tests in Khan Academy or elsewhere. And then we also have the ACT test. If you take the practice test and you get a good feel for how you're doing and you're like, okay, my starting score for SAT is around 1400, that's a good place to be if this is your first time taking it, and then you could study it and test prep with a mentor or tutor and then try to get it to 1560 plus. And so if you have good stats and you want to do well for your college application process, taking it is probably the best option for you to explore. Now on the other side, there are people who don't like these exams, and I was one of them. When I was going through this process, I was not a good test taker. I did really well in my classes, but SAT was just really stressful for me. reading the articles were really tough. And it's like no matter what I did, I was like, I know it's not going to surpass a certain score bracket. So if you identify yourself as not the best test taker, then applying to colleges that do not require them could be a strategic way to go about this process. But at the same time, you do want to still do well in your classes, take rigorous AP Honor IB track, do well in the AP exams, get A's in those classes. So you still want to do well academically, but I think it's a good way to leverage your weakness and say, since I'm not a good test taker, I want to apply to colleges that are optional or not requiring them, and go from there. But no matter which track you decide to go, whether you're going to take the test and submit it or not take the test and do test optional route, you still need to have a standout factor. You still need to have good recommendation letters, essays, passion projects that could create a spike in your application, and then research position internships. Those things demonstrate and exemplify your academic interest and your major, because at the end of the day, you're going to college to study. So that's something that you really need to focus on, because if that part is not there, then it can really be easy to get rejected from these competitive schools. So to talk about this further, I'm hosting a free live workshop this coming Wednesday. You can register at passionprep.com/live. I'll go ahead and put in the link right here. We'll also put it in the description box. Come and join us, and we'll talk a little bit about what are some of the strategies that you can use to stand out, in addition to, of course, doing well on your GPA and SAT and ACT scores. And yeah, go ahead and join me there. And we have limited seats, 500 registrants for this Zoom room. So we'll have a lot of fun. You'll learn a lot. And so I hope to see you inside the training. Bye, everyone.